Good evening, everyone. I now call our September regularly scheduled council meeting to order, and we'll begin by asking Reverend Allen of the Blackstone Ministerial Association to come and lead us in the invocation. Thank you for being here tonight. It's great to have you.
Thank you. What is your usual format? Do you all sit on a prayer, you stand?
We sit, but
Okay,
we'll do,
that's-
you're
I
leading
want to
the
go by
show
what
right
you all
here.
do. No, I don't want to change anything. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Hey, Tessie. I'm sorry. No, she went to school with my daughter. Let's, amen. Let us bow our heads in prayer. As these council leaders now assemble to start this meeting, we beseech thee, you our eternal God, that they may achieve success in what they will discuss tonight, and give them the wisdom and the knowledge necessary to make this meeting beneficial. Let this assemble of civic leaders and other residents not focus on the divisions that so easily divide this society or this nation, but help them to focus on a unified effort as citizens chosen to lead this town responsibly. Help them as civic leaders to continue keeping the residents informed and always reassure their safety. Finally, we ask thee, O God, to guide this town council in wisdom, that they may uphold equality for all, yet be partial towards none. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend. I'd ask anyone that's able to stand to please do so as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the go sign. All right. Let me get my glasses here. How is everybody?
Before we get started,
Being inside on what is a glorious evening. We've had a very long time. My name is Dan Tilkin. I work for Point TV. I anchor the 4 o'clock news. I also do investigative reporting.
before we get started, Council, I ask, are there any additions to the agenda? Town Manager Van Orbeck is asked to add the BB&T Bank property. Is there any other items to be added to the agenda? We have hearing none, we have a closed session tonight for personnel, and I'm gonna add a closed session for possible litigation or briefing by the staff. Is there anything else? Well, let's get right on into the meeting. Tonight we have 5 public hearings. The first one is for HELP, who seeks a real estate exemption. Mr. Manager?
We'd received a request from the HELP organization to declare exempt the real property that they hold at 314 South Main Street. If you remember, I had advertised it previously, but I didn't include in the advertisement, which is required by state code, the assessed value and the tax levy. And it's a pretty small amount, it's $39, I think, and 81 cents annually. The county has waived the real estate taxes on their end, and the request is to hold a public hearing so that we could abate real estate taxes for the town of Blackstone for the HELP property, which is 314 South Main. I think it's assessed a little over $18,000, and I think that's also addressed in the advertisement. And as you recall, we couldn't hold a public hearing last month because I didn't include those 2 statutory obligations.
All right, I'm now gonna open the public hearing on this issue. Is there anyone would like to come to the podium and address council that is for this issue? Is there anyone that would like to come to the podium that is against the manager's request? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Members of council, do you have any comments or questions?
Philip, is this indefinitely or until the building changes hands?
I think it would be until the building changed hands, because it does have an obligation to be a 501c3 or a tax exempt organization.
I move that we approve the request as presented for us.
Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Miller has second. Is there any other discussion? I'll ask for a voice vote, beginning with, everybody. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Since we have an even number tonight, In the unfortunate case that we have a tie, I'll be called on to break that tie. So, hopefully I don't see anything on the agenda that we'll have too much to worry about that. The second public hearing is concerning a property to be blighted. Manager Van Orbeck?
Previously, town staff, myself and Jennifer have been working with and communicating with the property owner that owns 107 Taylor Street. We really haven't made much progress as far as addressing the blight. The home is in very poor condition, and a series of vagrants are now residing on the property. I think we reported to the police department. We've made efforts. The property owner has been very cooperative on that front. Working with the police department, posting the property, no trespassing, that sort of thing. But admittedly, they sent me an email and said that they've been fearful for their safety to go to their own property because of people living on the property. Included is an ordinance where the town council would declare blighted the property. Property owner did send me an email today and said they weren't feeling well and couldn't make it. But I assure you, there's still a long process to go to continue. I would ask that council hold the public hearing and vote allowing to move forward with option number 4, which would allow as much as using the condemnation process or the eminent domain process. I think you have multiple different options you can work on. As with everybody else, man, you take care of your business, we're going to get off your back and just fix the building, do something with it. And as in the case of Oak Street, if they were willing to let us tear the property down, and then we could market the property, pay our costs, and pay them back, if that would be an option. But house is in bad shape, and I'd ask council to hold a public hearing, and certainly would recommend option number 4, which would include eminent domain as one of the options.
At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come to the podium and speak for or against the manager's request to blight 107 Taylor Street? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And at this time, does council have any questions for the manager?
Property owner mentioned anything about rectifying the issue, tearing the house down?
I did receive an email from them today and said they'd like to fix the house, they'd like to do stuff. I don't know how far gone, I've not been inside, but the exterior is pretty tough. We've been at it, I don't want to exaggerate, at least 6-8 months, going back and forth with letters, notices, that sort of thing. But like I said, the property owners have been very cooperative with the police about allowing access onto the property and that sort of thing, and I want to give them credit for that. But I think the neighbors on Taylor Street are a little tired of the people using the bathroom outside and that sort of thing.
Safety concern for the neighbors, not
It's problematic, yeah. There's a lot of calls, shootings that have emanated from that property. We believe shootings that have emanated from the property. So I think it's time to make a move. This doesn't commit us to anything immediately. It doesn't commit her to anything immediately, but it'll keep the ball rolling, and hopefully we can come to some sort of a common ground where we're either going to be taken down, they can take it down, they can make any improvements, which would be the best solution. But I think with those folks hanging around there, I think the property owner's a little nervous about going down on the property.
I move that we'd authorize the town manager to start the process and that we declare 107 Taylor Street to be blighted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nash has moved and Ms. Nguyen has seconded to take the steps to blight 107 Taylor Street. Any other discussion? I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The third public hearing we have this evening is a similar action on 902 2nd Street. Mr. Manager?
That house has taken a tremendous turn for the worse. If you're familiar with it, it's in your neighborhood. It's I can't say it's a double wide, but it's like a Jim Walter home that was put down on the intersection of Green Street and 2nd Street. Someone's been down through there. Obviously, the back porch has fallen off, and there's a whole series of problems with the roofing, the soffits all having rot in them. But just recently, someone's gone and broken multiple windows out of the house, and so it's just posing a problem. We have sent 2 notices, if I'm not mistaken, to these folks, letting them know that staff has declared it blighted. We have not received any response that I'm aware of, and I don't know if Jennifer, if I'm telling them correctly on your behalf. Yeah,
Who owns the property?
I think it's Letty Epps. and that person may be deceased, the family's not receiving the notices for whatever reason, but if we were to proceed on with any eminent domain process in order to get the house down, Tessie has an obligation to help us with service, and there's other things other than just sending certified letters to the tax record, the address on the tax record. So we'll make every effort to contact them, but man, we're just falling on deaf ears, and just recently the windows have all been broken out of the house. It's pretty tough shape. Okay.
At this time, I'm gonna open the public hearing on declaring 902 Second Street blighted. Is there anyone that would like to come to the podium and address council that is either for or against this action? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing now. Members of council, do you have any questions for the manager? What's council's pleasure?
Move to declare 902 Second Street blighted.
Mr. Almond has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Gormus is second. Any other discussion? I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The fourth public hearing tonight is eminent domain of 114th South Main Street. If you would, do you feel it's appropriate to bring up the fact we had an email today from the owner?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's all public information. The owner did say that he's had illness in the family and was unable to attend. He indicated that he has paid off the principal mortgage on the property and now has every intention of working on the property. By you vote tonight and by holding this public hearing, man, you can still do the work and save us all the trouble and headache, because I think there's still a long, fairly belabored process, as it should be, taking somebody's property. But these windows that have fallen out, we've been talking to him for months, if not a year, about fixing that, and we haven't gotten that done. So
Sprinkler system too is a big concern to me.
it's a big concern, because if it were to catch fire or have that kind of a thing, it could be problematic for the whole downtown. And it abuts, if I'm not mistaken, 6 other private properties. I would ask the council hold the public hearing tonight, authorize the eminent domain, and let Tessie begin the process of communicating with the property owner. We have made 2 bona fide offers for the same amount, one through the MLS, through his real estate agent, and then one, Tessie actually wrote him a letter and made the same offer of $42,500 and was not accepted. Tessie has done a title search on the property. I'd like to proceed on, but this doesn't guarantee that we're going to do that, but I do think Tessie working with that gentleman may accelerate the process of him. I don't think he's taken us as serious necessarily over the past months and years about the property. Maybe this process will accelerate his interest in maintaining and owning the property.
At this time, I'm gonna open the public hearing on this matter. Does anyone care to come to the podium and speak for or against this issue?
This resolution specific is a little different than the blighted, because you've previously had declared the property blighted, and we still have had no response. But this would actually be an authorization for Tessie to begin the process of an eminent domain, which would be a court proceeding and be a taking of the property if resolution couldn't be found, or satisfactory
I'll let
resolution.
me dispatch the public hearing and we'll have time for discussion. Anyone like to come forward? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing for this matter, and I will open up now for council to have any discussion or questions. You satisfied?
I would like to, I mean, we'll proceed on, and I do think we need to go and make the vote tonight, but proceed on with Tessie attempting,
Sure.
in good faith, he said that he can fix it up now that there's no money being expended on, let's see if it can be done really quickly.
We've given him a list, and the fire marshal has given him a list.
Yeah, I think we need to
Give him an appropriate amount of time.
move it on pretty quick.
Okay.
Like 90 days.
Yeah.
90 days.
90
No
days.
more than 3 months would be plenty, I
90
think,
days.
to,
If I recall, we're talking about hundreds of thousands
Yeah,
of
we're not
dollars of
talking-
repairs though, right?
yeah.
You're talking, yeah. I think there was an estimate provided to us. The public information is in a file from J.E. Burton, who came and looked at the building one time with us, and stabilization of the building is about $465,000,
That's just
according to them.
Yeah, I mean, I just, it's, Yeah.
What-
I'm not saying give them longer, I'm just saying 90 days is not gonna happen, you know, we know that.
Correct, but
But if
But
he's
you get
doing
fair,
something,
Well-
it's justified.
You know, and I may be speaking out of turn, but I feel like it's something I know and I'd like the council to know. I believe in the conversations, it was in the email or either we spoke, that now that he didn't have the principal note, he was gonna begin working on the project.
That's what he
So,
indicated
If
today.
he's gonna take a couple $1,000s a month and tackle that problem, that's not gonna cut it.
no, I mean, we've
So-
obviously gotta be reasonable with it, or he would
Right.
know that
But I would like to
it
see
can't take
I'd like to
4
see it,
years to get the
right.
building
I'd
How
like
about
to see
what
it-
his plan of work would be in 30 or 45 days and work having commenced, not replacing windows, but significant work having commenced within 90 days. I don't think just replacing the windows is going to solve the problem with the fire sprinkler system defunct and the roof leaking appreciably and destabilizing the adjoining properties. We'll do our best.
Is there a motion to grant Mr. Van Orvik's request?
So move.
Mr. Miller moves, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Is there any other discussion? I ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 5-0-1.
And that was to declare imminent
That is correct.
Adopt a resolution.
Our fifth public hearing concerns the reservoir. Manager Van Orvik?
Now, this is an oxymoron, if there ever was one.
Is government at its best?
This is government at its best. In 2021, our aeration system ceased working. And if anybody knows what that is, you drive across the bridge at the reservoir, you see bubbles in the water. It helps us with water treatment, and it ceased to work. In order to rectify the situation and assist us, and if anybody has had water that looked a little pink, that is in part because of several of the minerals that are in the reservoir, and that aeration system helps to prevent those kinds of things. We did the work and completed the work in in calendar year 2022. In addition, in 2021, we applied for infrastructure grant loan money through the Department of Health. If everybody remembers the bipartisan infrastructure package that was adopted by the federal government, we made application in 2021, couldn't wait for a response, so we did the work using ARPA money that we had earmarked for a water line and water meter replacement project that we're about 3/4 of the way done with. In April of 23, we were notified that we were successful in our application, not just for a loan grant. We expected at best a 50-50 deal, but we got a 100% grant project. In doing so, we're very excited. We're filling out paperwork. We're giving them copies of audits. They came back and said, and here's the oxymoron part, you've got to do an environmental assessment for a replacement of an existing project. It's unheard of, and that's why in my write-up I put unprecedented. I have no idea why they're requiring it. However, we're going through an environmental review, environmental assessment. The work's been done. It's been done over a year, but nonetheless, we're following government health department guidelines. We have a comment period that is open and opened on September 6th and is open until October 6th. There's a 30-day window that citizens could come look at documents and ask questions, and we can do that. There's a public notice there. We're also having a public hearing for anybody. It's not a mandated public hearing, but anybody that would like to make comments about our aeration project, I'd be happy to try to respond.
Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open a public hearing. Does anyone would like to come forward and just speak for or against this? What are we doing, a resolution?
And this is just public notice that.
Public,
anybody can
just for
come up
public
with.
notice,
Yeah.
okay?
The public hearing is just for opportunity to speak, and so the citizenry knows, let the record reflect, they can still come to my office between now and October 6th, and that's in that public notice, and receive copies of any of the documents related to the environmental review.
Would anybody like to come forward to speak for or against this issue? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Does members of the council have any questions or comments?
The environmental review is being performed now, or is it just a matter of going X amount of time and?
The environmental review has been completed, the documentation is put together and it's completed, and there's a public comment period that people can review the documents, review the findings, but the work was done over a year ago. That's the
But it's the aeration system we're talking
It's the aeration system.
about. We
I'm
can't
sure
get
the
the,
review came back favorable. that it was
I mean, we're trying to oxygenate fish, and we're not trying to cause problems down at the reservoir. And literally, it's a replacement of existing systems
but
that have been
is
in.
required to be done for us to get the 567 in grant funds.
Otherwise, I probably would have had less agreement with the Department of Health, but they got a $567,000 grant that they're holding.
Yeah,
It's a good reason to
environmental evaluation.
hold a public hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't need any actions? All right, we're gonna move on to the minutes. Council, you have before you 3 sets of minutes, from our special call meeting on 6/7/23, a special call meeting on 6/21/23, and our regularly scheduled council meeting of August the 21st, 23. You may take these up one at a time or as a group. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as prepared, subject to corrections.
All three?
All three.
Second.
Is that you, Mr. Nash?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Miller moves and Mr. Nash seconds that these 3 sets of meetings will be, will dispense with the reading of them and will accept them in the record, pending any clarifications or corrections. I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Any corrections or questions? I kinda got a little ahead of myself there. We have anything to discuss? You ready to move on?
We're good.
All right, we have 2 visitors tonight on the agenda, and now is the first of 2 times that we welcome citizens to come to the podium and address council. The second time is at the end of this meeting, and I'm gonna go out of order. I'm gonna ask Chief Kuzmiak to come to the podium. It's great to see you, but I don't like seeing you here for this.
I don't either, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't prepare any type of speech. We have several things to leave with you tonight. I just want to thank you for not only your service here, but in upstate New York, and I believe you have a 40-year law enforcement career. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, sir.
So for the better part of your life, you have been responsible for people like me to be able to sleep better at night. And you know how I feel about you. You know how your council feels about you. I don't think I'm gonna stand up here and muddy the waters any more than that. It's with regret that we accepted your resignation, but on the other hand, it brings me joy and pleasure that after your long career, that you'll be able to take some time off and do what's right for you and your family. So,
Thank you so much.
I have we have a resolution here. Is it appropriate for me to read it, or, well, that's up to y'all. Y'all want me to read it?
Yes.
We have a proclamation, a resolution here of appreciation to Nicholas C. Kuzmiak, Chief of Police, on his retirement from the town of Blackstone Police Department. Whereas the town of Blackstone is proud to recognize the legacy and accolades of Chief Nicholas Charles Kuzmiak of the Blackstone Police Department on this occasion of his retirement. And whereas Chief Kuzmiak became the chief of the town of Blackstone Police Department on February 7th, 2003, after previously serving 20 years in law enforcement with the state of New York. And whereas during his 20 years of service to the town of Blackstone, Chief Kuzmiak's tireless efforts modernized and shaped the town of Blackstone Police Department into a transparent, community-oriented department that is recognized and appreciated by those within and those outside the Blackstone community. And whereas Chief Kuzmiak performed many vital functions required to run the police department, manage its personnel, and to ensure the department employees operate with the professionalism the community deserves, coupled with the community programs he implemented, such as the building of a skate park, open gym at the primary school, shop with a cop, partners in policing, cookouts, they have been instrumental to the community relations department that we all enjoy today. And whereas Chief Kuzmiak will be missed for his steadfast leadership, tireless efforts to improve the town of Blackstone Police Department, unwavering dedication to the Blackstone community, and overwhelming professionalism. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the town council of the town of Blackstone wishes to express its sincere appreciation and thanks for his 20 years of hard work and loyalty to the police department and the community. Be it further resolved that the town council, the police department staff, and the Blackstone citizens wish to express their best wishes to Chief Kuzmiak for a very long and happy retirement. This resolution was introduced and adopted at a regular meeting of the town council of Blackstone held on the 6th day of September 2023. Y'all join me with a round of applause for the chief. Thank y'all very much.
So much.
And you can thank your Detective Murphy for that fabulous resolution.
Thank you, Sam.
It was very well done indeed. This, may I present to you as mayor, the
Yes, sir.
key to the town of Blackstone? You already have the key to our hearts, and we hope and pray that your retirement suits you well, as you have done such an awesome job for us. We have this resolution in the form of a plaque, in the form of a fancier plaque.
It's really nice. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Members of council, do you have any comments that you'd like to make to the chief?
Thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. I just want to say thank you. I've had a marvelous career. I'm proud to say that Blackstone is the longest department that I've ever worked for, 20 years straight. I've had great staff and great support from you and the community. And I truly love the town of Blackstone. And thank you so much for the opportunity to finish out my career. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks,
Good luck to you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
The next visitor we have tonight is Miss Emma Wright, DBI's Executive Director. Will you come forward, please? Now, I see you bringing the First Lady too.
I am.
What can we do for you tonight?
Good evening, everyone. I am here to talk about our color run that is on October the 14th, starting at 12 noon and ending at 4. I am requesting assistance from our police department. The race starts at 2 p.m. Making sure that this is in y'all's packet. The race will start at 2 p.m. And hopefully ending at 4 p.m. So I will need some assistance from our police department for that, and a partial, not closure, but main assistance on 8th and Main. And then I'm requesting a full closure for High Street from Dinwiddie to Tavern. So that little strip right there in front of my office and the museum and the tavern. Because that is where our event will be held. Our 5K, the start and finish line, will be right there. And we will also, I called Dan Martin today to ask if we could use the flatbed for our DJ. And so it's we have like a little like pre-party type thing for our color run. So that'll go on right there. And then also the new noise ordinance that's in effect. There we will have a DJ from 12 to 4. So I didn't know how to go about that as well.
Well, I would suggest the council take that up, just to be on the safe side about the noise ordinance.
Okay.
Alcohol, I see in the package that,
So it is my plan. Last year they had alcohol. I have not gotten back, and I've reached out to a couple people and haven't heard back. So fingers crossed this week. So I plan to have alcohol. It's just not set in stone yet. So
okay. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
I move that we ask the police to aid in whatever way need to be, for the partial closure just across Main Street at 8, for the closure of the street in front of the tavern, and also to waive the noise ordinance during this event.
Is there a second?
One more thing.
Second.
One more thing to add.
I'll say.
Mr. Gorman, second. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to add, we had a banner across the street for the event.
I did forget to add that.
Mr. Nash, will you add that to your motion? Mr. Gorman?
Thank you.
Any discussion, council?
You're asking to waive the banner fee, right?
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6-0. Motion carries 6-0.
If alcohol will be there, license will be obtained, obviously.
All the
Yes.
proper stuff. We've already worked on getting the liability policy.
Let everybody else know.
Yes. We've already got, it's in the works to have the liability policy, like we had last year. Everything will be the same. And we hope you'll come out. It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
Anything else?
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would wish to come to the podium and address the council?
You don't wanna make a motion to allow the alcohol? Just on the safe side?
Okay, so, Mr. Nash, which one? Mr. Allman moves and Mr. Nash seconds to allow alcohol under our, current regulations and restrictions, during the color run. Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We don't have any other visitors tonight. Councilman Miller has asked me about another reunion that, he may have some requests for council.
Yes, this reunion over here by Levi's that they have every year, they haven't had it for COVID. They're supposed to be having it for October the 7th. And so they're gonna want to,
Is that Fitzgerald Harris?
yes, Fitzgerald
They
Harris.
approved that last month.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
So we're good to go?
Good to go.
Chief Toma, would you come forward, please? We'll now hear the fire chief's report.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Under old business, radio system, really hasn't been much progress. There is a meeting going to be held at the end of October with the consultant firm and the committee to go over this and continue to move forward. We've kind of been waiting on responses from the 3 vendors for, I don't know if it would be specifically a change order, but some modifications to the system. So we're kind of in a holding point. The additional stuff has been pretty much status quo on old business. You've all should have received the pictures for the aerial device. The cab was pretty much done with metal fabrication on Thursday. Usually every Thursday they update us with pictures. So we're hoping to see the chassis to be the next thing on the line. They're still saying December timeframe, but I'm extremely optimistic. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Under new business, our boot drive was once again a great success. We did just over $10,000 between the hours of 7 o'clock in the morning until 12:30. We were really surprised. We weren't expecting to get this at all with the change of venue for the Arts and Crafts Festival. We still had to, I thought it was less traffic than normal, but we still came in at an average donation amount. I want to say our highest was $13,000 one year, and we've been pretty much staying between $9,000 and $11,000. We definitely enjoyed using the speed restrictive devices. We did have some complaints because people didn't know they were there, and it kind of shook their axles a little bit. But they definitely slowed them down moving into the into our work area. Primarily, it was Northwest Avenue that we saw. They were just rolling right into them. So last month, I brought up to committee concern or to council concerning the donation of our expired turnout gear to Honduras. It was made mention that being that this is Town of Blackstone property, that it probably should be surplused before donated to Honduras. So I'd like to.
Sounds like a motion.
Council, may I have a motion to surplus this turnout gear?
So moved.
Mr. Miller moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nash seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Motion carries 6-0. Continue, Chief Tony.
All right, thank you very much. We wouldn't have to get it back from Honduras now.
Actually, I didn't see that.
We had a couple big things within our membership. Firefighter Jonathan Repollet, who's currently in Rookie Academy for Chesterfield Fire Department, passed his National Registry test to become an emergency medical technician. And also Sergeant Dylan Jones began employment with Fort Barfoot as a firefighter last week. Also upcoming October 8th through the 14th is Fire Prevention Week. We will be holding our open house October 9th at 1 o'clock. Would strongly encourage you, if you're able to slip by, come by, see the fire station, see the fire trucks, see all the hard work that the volunteers put forth into ensuring our department and town's protected. Blood drive is tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. I believe it's 10 to 2. We currently have 19 people registered. They were hoping to get 40, so we're not even halfway there yet. They will take walk-ins, so if you would like to donate, please do not hesitate to walk in. The appointments just provide an opportunity to have a secured spot, so if everybody shows up at 1 o'clock, it might be a little bit timelier or cause more time for you to move forward with your donation. As discussed last month, we did cancel Image Trend at the end of this month. That was about a $406 monthly recurring fee for us. We were able to extract all our data that we needed, and we'll be canceling that.
Will this be the last month we see it in here, or does it run a month back?
Okay. Let's see. The newest addition to our flagpole, the Freedom Flag, is being flown this month. We joined in with the Freedom Flag Foundation. This flag was made after September 11th by an individual, a restaurant owner in Richmond, and has been denounced as the official flag of 9/11 and has been approved by the governor for display. We're going to keep this flown throughout the month of September. It could be flown year-round, but we figured it'd have more impact on the month of September with reflection on 9/11. The big part of this flag is to really reiterate 9/11. If you really think about it now, everybody in high school and even after that had no involvement with 9/11. Really have no recollection, don't recall what we went through on the attacks on September 11th. So this is to kind of revamp it every year to make sure that the memory of those that were lost and all the attacks continues to live on. Lastly, Christmas banquet is December 9th. Will not be held at the Armory yet. We'd love to get it moved there at some point, but we'll be at the Fort Pickett Officers Club. Formal invitations will be coming out shortly, and I kindly ask that you RSVP so we can get an accurate head count. And that's all I have, unless you have anything else for me.
I notice you have 4 anniversaries of life members with at least 25 years.
Yes.
That's amazing. I'd like to offer a round of applause for these gentlemen.
Thank you. Philip Arms is our second longest serving member, followed by Walter Mack supersedes him.
That's quite amazing. Thank you, Chief. Is there any questions for the Chief and members of council?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can we, I meant to ask Emma, do you have a route for,
It should be in your packet.
okay,
There's 3 pictures. There's pictures of
I didn't scroll past the intro page.
the grant and there's all the pictures.
Okay.
Anything else, council? Council, you have before you 2 batches of bills. The first batch of bills that have not yet been approved in the amount of $385,715.76 need to be paid. What's council's pleasure?
Move to approve.
Mr. Nash has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Miller has seconded. Any discussion or questions about the first batch? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. The second batch of bills have been approved but not yet paid. They are in the amount of $258,093.35. Council, what's your pleasure? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Nash moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman, second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0.
I've got one that I should have questioned on the
Sure.
previous batch.
Okay.
Chief, can you Archives Social LLC? It says PD on it. Is that for the PD or what is? It says 2000 fiscal year 24 social media subscription for the PD.
Yes, that's for the PD.
What is that?
That is a backup service for our Facebook and social media account. So that if anyone ever questions what was posted or taken down, that's our safe way of documenting and creating a history log of everything that the department
Gotcha.
posted.
I was just, I mean, that's $4,200. It was like, whoa, okay. All right.
Any other questions, council? All right, moving along, we do not have any appropriations tonight. Committee reports. We have one committee report. Chairman Miller's committee met on August the 31st. Would Chairman Miller or Manager Van Orbeck care to report? Thank you, Mr. Van Orbeck.
I don't think there was any formal motions or recommendations made by the committee. However, we do want to let folks know that the chief of police position has been advertised and has we have received some interest from individuals about the job. I believe the deadline, and I hope I get it right, and I'm sure it's attached, I think is on the 14th of October would be the deadline. There's a job description also attached. The committee discussed it, made a couple small changes to the job description, which were incorporated, and so the position is open. At this time, there is a deadline for the submission of an application. As far as other items, we talked, I'm scrolling too fast, noise ordinance. We did discuss the noise ordinance in the police department, and we want everybody that comes through town now, turn down your radio, fix your exhaust, do whatever you got to do, because we are writing tickets for those things. We've been pretty nice. We've been trying to work with folks, and of course, folks weren't getting the message. And we have a significant number of noise complaints, primarily on the south end of town, near Walmart in that general vicinity. And it's time for everybody to turn it down and start being a little more respectful. So, police department is writing tickets. I see that there were 3 tickets for loud music and 1 ticket issued this month or in this period in the police report for loud exhaust. Okay, we want folks. We don't want to be a speed trap, but we do want folks to know that that's not going to be okay in town. All right, and then the HR job position at next police employment committee meeting, I will present a job description for that job to the committee. Okay.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
In this HR position, you said this position will be budgeted, continued.
The position would likely be included in next year's budget. So that would begin July 1st for an employee to do that sort of thing. I think the intention of the committee that I understood, I've just struck out hiring a consultant that wants to do everything plus be the arbiter of disputes in the town with employees. And so I think in order to hire somebody that can encompass that, we can create a job description and have that person as an employee of the town. And logically, that would be included in next year's budget, if approved by council.
Council, do you have any other questions for the Building and Grounds Committee?
Bill Grant.
How about police and employment?
They're posted for the police chief. I'm looking, it does state that by applying, you are in effect saying you do meet the minimum.
You meet the minimum requirements, that's
So you don't
correct.
have to screen a bunch out.
All right, let's move along to unfinished business. The first item is the Armory renovation bid.
On September 14th, town staff opened bids for the armory. We were pleasantly pleased that Tazewell Contractors from Norfolk, Virginia submitted a base bid in the amount of $3,295,000 with potential additives specific to the second floor renovations. Finishing the second floor, we put that as an additive, whether we could afford to do it or not, and completing the elevator and dumbwaiter for the project. Their total bid would be $3,822,000. I'm not prepared to make a recommendation to the council just yet, but the second bid was from Jamerson Lewis Construction with a base bid of $4,069,000, with the additives coming to a total of $4,777,100. We can work with the numbers. I think we can make it work, and we're getting close with Chastity on, but we already have commitments of the ARPA money. We have a commitment of $1 million from IRF and a commitment of $581,000 from the Tobacco Commission, but we're not done yet. We're still trying to put additional monies together. We've had to back off a USDA application because they were mandating the use of historic renovation guidelines. And if we were going to do that, which makes the project much more expensive, then early on in the project we would have more likely have gone into the tax credits, so there could have been more reimbursement. And I think a decision was made not to use the tax credits because we didn't want to increase the cost of the project so dramatically. So USDA backed out, and we're asking Tobacco Commission and IRF for additional funding.
The additive number 2, the elevator, is at the price for it being internally in the building?
It's exterior. Exterior.
And, correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll be hearing from the architect with recommendation to accept the bid, and for that reason, I'm gonna continue this meeting, tonight to Wednesday, October the 4th at 7 p.m.
Hopefully we'll be ready to accept them. We just opened them Thursday, and I don't know the contractor. It's not like I can pick up the phone and call somebody I know. So we've asked, and it's part of the responsibility. The architect needs to properly vet the company, properly vet references, and make sure that the bid is accurate. And
Time frame that would start pretty quick.
ASAP.
We have to expend it by what, August?
September of 24 is when it's supposed to be expended. Now, I think we can spend the ARPA money first, which is the most critical to get out. The IRF money and tobacco money does also have a sunset, but I think they'd probably be more flexible since they're local resources, and we haven't had any problem with DHCD providing us extensions on time. So any drawdowns would likely come from the ARPA money first and get that expended and then move on to the next.
Madam Clerk, don't let me adjourn this meeting, okay? Anything else about the armory, Mr. Manager?
No, but we're very pleased.
Okay.
And
Council, do you have any questions?
moving in the right direction.
We'll move to unfinished business number 2, and that's to award the roof bid at Schwartz Tavern.
On September 1st, 2023, staff opened sealed bids for replacement of the roof at Schwartz Tavern. The apparent low bidder was from Vertex Roofing in the amount of $106,500. Upon review by the architect, it was determined that the type of shingle submitted in the bid did not meet specifications. Vertex indicated that the specified shingles would add $39,596 to their bid, which then makes them the second lowest bidder. Therefore, the lowest responsive bid, and the architect has spoken with N.W. Martin, and they did submit the specified shingle, which is to match what is existing. And N.W. Martin's bid is now deemed the lowest responsive at $142,160, and the architect has recommended award to N.W. Martin. The budgeted amount for the work, sadly, is only $120,000.
What is the shingle that?
They had square shingles, and they're scallop shape. That was the difference. Yeah, they specified a square shingle. They had submitted a square shingle. So that's the part where the architects and engineers are supposed to review these things and make sure we get it right.
That much.
I thought 120 was a pretty good lick.
Built 2 houses for that thing, and
Is there a motion to accept this bid?
I need to replace the roof on the tavern. I mean, we can rebid it if you choose to. I don't know if we'll do better, but the roof has exceeded its life expectancy. It's was put on, I believe, that's the original roof from the late 80s that was put on there. So
do you
it's
think
time
having
to go.
a square shape as compared to a scallop shape?
You can save some money, but we specified as existing. But I would recommend then you need to go back and rebid.
$40,000. I wanted to stay historic, yes. I mean, but
What's your pleasure, council?
Do you have the extra $22,000 to?
Yes, I mean, you got $8 million sitting in the bank, so I've got the 22,000. I'd prefer this be under 120,000, obviously. And there is monies available to do the project. We can get the project done. But it's one of those things that's just more expensive. Whereas the armory was under budget. Who would have guessed? I thought that thing was going to blow the budget, but it did not. And yes, there is cash available. I will tell you this month we have another really wonker VEMA bill, and that should be the last of those big VEMA bills. So cash flow should begin to appreciably improve. Not only that, but you'll also have a VDOT draw. Our quarterly draw will come at the end of September, and in addition, that $567,000, we get the whole thing back. Now we do have to pay off a line of credit at Benchmark Bank where we had borrowed the money to pay for those meters in that water project that we were going to use the ARPA money for, but the difference will go back in the checking account.
What's the turnaround time if we were to go with the bid as it is here? When are they looking to complete the job?
Oh, you got me on that one. I'm not exactly sure the length, but it would probably be a 6-month project. I would guess. I can read the specification more closely. I don't want to tell you wrong.
I don't want to cause an issue with pushing it down the road further, but if it's a 6-month project, I'd like to rebid it personally to try to get in that budget.
Well, council speaks by its motions, so,
I don't want to just make a random motion
Well-
without any support.
You mean
So-
rebid it to go with the square shingles instead of scallops?
It's
You want to
still
go to
a shape.
the less expensive shingle?
It's still a shape, but it's just a different shape.
I don't think you're going to get an appreciably different bid if you stick with the scallop shingle.
I mean, that's just,
Or if they start in March, it could be half in this fiscal year.
Or if you're willing, well, I'd maybe sit down and talk to Tessie a little bit on the procurement side, but I think rebidding is the safe. You can't go wrong with rebidding. And if you want to change the specification to a square shingle, could potentially save you 40 grand.
well, what I'd really like to do is I would like to have a motion to reject this and a motion to rebid.
I'd prefer
Or-
not to reject it because we may choose to go with the scallop one still. Or can you do that?
I don't think you can reject the bids or authorize rebidding.
Rebid.
Unless you reject the bill.
I think if you're going to change that specification, I think you need to rebid it.
So
Reject
it's
and
either we wanna run with this now, or we don't.
It can't be a separate bid, being that they're changing the scope.
Pardon?
Can't be a separate bid, not being that we're changing the scope. One bid's for square, one bid's for scallop.
No, I think the safe thing is just stick her back out there and let her rip again. Nobody can complain it was unfair or I was disaffected. I think I see Tessie nodding her head.
I like that idea too because of the the original low bidder bid the wrong way. So this would really clean all that up and
And he might come in
So-
with a better bill.
It is. It's got a rounded cedar shake. Or not a shake, excuse me. It's a shingle, not a shake. They are rounded now.
I don't know. I need
That's
a
the
motion
purpose
to
of
do
rebidding
something
it,
is
isn't
what
it?
I'm trying to say.
Isn't that the purpose of rebidding it, to see if we're gonna keep that or?
No, the purpose of rebidding it, because I know what you're going to get if you rebid with the same shingle that's current. You're going to get approximately the same thing. If you rebid it, the intention is to go to a less expensive shingle,
The square one.
the square shingle, and find less expensive alternatives to get the price down.
And we can do that, right?
Oh, you can reject anything. Council reserves the right to reject any and all bids.
Again, I'd like a motion to reject and then we'll talk about going forward.
I move that we reject the bids that we received.
Is there a second? Mr. Nash moves.
So move.
Mr. Miller seconds. Now, is there any more discussion about rejecting? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6-0. Now,
I move that we authorize the town manager to rebid using the square
Less expensive single alternative.
and also talk to the Tavern Authority and notify them of our.
It is on the National Register.
Correct.
So I want to make sure that's not a violation of some aspect of that. But that's why we went back with what was there, because I knew that couldn't be a violation of any kind, so. that's
is there a
different.
second?
Okay.
Second.
Ms. Williams is second. Any other discussion? Mr. Nash has moved and Ms. Williams has seconded to put this back out for rebid, checking with the National Historical Society and going with a lesser expensive square type shingle.
Well,
We hope. I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Unfinished business number 3, the annual concrete bid award.
on September 14th, town staff opened sealed bids for the annual concrete schedule. 2 bids received, and the bid tabulation is attached. Lowest responsive bidder was S. Walker Construction in the amount of $455,200. Now remember, this money's only spent if we actually do the unit items in their entirety. This is appreciably less than last year, and I'm pleased to announce that this is less expensive. So competition is a good thing, and it's the first time we've gotten 2 bids on this particular item in some time. So I think this can save us a little bit of money.
I move to accept the bid.
Mr. Nash moves. Is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Miller seconds. Mr. Nash, we'll start with you with discussion.
What's,
Made it so much lower.
yeah,
I think Mr. Walker.
different numbers, scale?
The unit prices are less than last year, okay? But I think Mr. Walker's been at this a while, and he knows typical that we don't do under 100 linear feet or under a certain cubic yardage. And if you look at those unit prices, he's taking some risks. So if it's a very small project, his recompense is very low, and he took a risk by bidding those at less than $10 a linear foot.
So,
What were the,
I'd like to see those.
is there a comparison? I mean,
Yeah,
you got-
absolutely. I got the
didn't
bids.
see it in the packet unless I'm just missing it.
They're not in the packet, but I do have all the bids.
So if we don't do any of the cheaper line items, such as you're saying, we could spend more technically with.
No, because his unit prices across the board are lower. Throughout.
Gotcha.
Okay, but what we don't want to do, and what I don't want to do, is have one contractor that builds concrete boxes and one contractor that does curb and gutter. That's why we have it as a total project. We don't want à la carte, this contractor does this and this contractor does that, but his prices across the board were lower. He got his price significantly lower by putting a very low price on those line items we don't typically do.
What does all work is completed mean?
See,
I mean, why wouldn't it be bid by like linear foot instead of a bulk price, not knowing how many?
Because there's
linear feet's gonna
probably
be?
a dozen different units, concrete boxes, truncated domes, which are handicap ramps, demolition, valley gutter, curb and gutter. So there's multiple different items, and the way we bid it out is, I think a contractor should be able to be paid more if they have to mobilize to multiple spots. So the smaller the project, typically, the more costly the per linear foot is, okay? And so you've got, well, I would say a good 18 different unit prices between demolition, curb and gutter, valley gutter, driveways, demolition,
Pads.
I understand, I'm just thinking.
all those kinds of things.
Is there like a master list that they feed from and?
I use it off VDOT. I take them off, I use DI 9s and I just use a VDOT standard. CG6 is a curb and gutter, like out in front of the building or in part of the newer areas in East End. And what we do is we do under 100 linear feet and then over 100 linear feet. So he's entitled to a reimbursement for 100 linear feet at a particular price and 101 plus over
May
at a
do a lot
particular
of
price.
100 linear feet projects.
Well, you could, yeah, if
I
we
mean,
do a lot
I'm
of small
just saying.
projects, I think Mr. Walker's taking a risk on that.
How do
and
you come up with the total?
Yeah, I'm
How's
pulling
the
a
total
record.
Add them all up. Just add all the unit prices all together.
All the potential work up,
All the potential work based on assumed number of drop inlets, on a number of assumed truncated domes, on an assumed linear footage. So he extrapolates his price out. He'll say $3 per linear foot for curb and gutter in excess or under 100 linear feet, and then a price.
So if curb and gutter on S. Walker's comes in at 101 linear feet plus,
He gets paid one unit price. If it's 99, he gets paid a different unit.
but if his number there is higher than what than the other responsive bidder,
But it's
it may
on the
be that
total.
we're actually,
But here's the problem again, when you start breaking it up, you've got to have one contractor have this contract.
is there a way we can see those?
Yep,
Because I
I've
don't
got them
know
right
what
here, as a
it
matter of
looks
fact.
I'm just in awe at,
I'll scan them and
all the work is complete, you
I've
don't
got
know what the work is.
Well,
except on a list.
this is a benchmark. So it's
He's
a
gonna
bro-
get $455,000 regardless.
No,
of-
No, 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 no,
We-
no,
I don't
Work.
ever
He has
recall,
to do the work.
I don't,
If he were to do all the work, he would get four
but I don't
fifty-five.
recall in my 8 years of council that we've ever come close to that figure. You know, it's just a benchmark so that you can tell, it's a benchmark so you can tell, you know, who's giving us the best deal. But I don't ever remember, do you, Mr. Nash, that we ever went over that number?
Oh, no, no, I think
No.
last year was pressing